I don't know how to say it any other way. Something big, really big, is coming for the world. And it's connected to Mercury's movement through the sign of Libra, where he will be in the heart of the sun on around October 1st. Well, at the very same time, that comet we're all talking about, with the last part of it named Atlas, is hitting our visible sky in the early morning hours before sunrise. This is important because around the time it's predicted to become visible low on the morning horizon is also connected to the eclipse of October the 2nd. So much about this is big energy. It's important. They said with eclipses, yes, big change for the world, eclipses to the sun, leaders and leadership. But in the ancient tradition, they also taught kings and leaders. They also talked about comets being portents or omens, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. It depends on when we first see it with our visible eyes, the color of the comet. So until we get to see it, we can't say much. One of the people who talks a lot about color comets and predicting good or bad based on the cometary color is the astrologer Crossi, who does Babylonian astrology. I really like her stuff. I have to have her on my channel. I'll put a link to her channel below. I don't know if she's talked about this comet yet. And the thing about this comet, they thought it was an asteroid in January 2023 when it was first spotted. Then they noticed there's a tail on this baby. So we're going to be seeing the possibility of this visible comet showing up around the 30th of September, October 1st, October 2nd. This is with Mercury moving into the heart of the sun. So he's completely invisible. He's in a conjunction to the sun, a superior conjunction from the other side of the sun beyond the earth. So we get an invisible Mercury downloading divine messages. We get a comet giving his first peekaboo look at us, and we have an eclipse. So that's why I'm calling this video Something Big is Coming. Now, let me say a few things about this. Don't be afraid. Eclipses, particularly, and comets are not about your life, particularly the world event things or how it impacts the global view. So that's one thing. But we'll talk about the good thing about Mercury. He does come into conjunction with around the 10th to the 12th with the star Libra. The star Spica in the sign of Libra, which is a very positive sky in the Western tropical zodiac sign of Libra, around 23 degrees of Libra, 24 degrees of Libra. And this does bode well for something. But the other thing I'm going to talk about is when that star is going to be visible again, the 12th closest to Earth, the 10th to the 12th, and maybe or maybe not visible. There's one of the astronomical websites predicts visibility as Mercury moves into the sign of Scorpio closer to the 15th, 16th of the month. And that's when he's in the tail of the head and tail of the serpent, the head of the serpent constellation. It's a snake held in the hands. A serpent kaput is the head of the serpent, the snake held in the hands of Asclepius, the great healer. So I'm going to show you the sky. I'm going to show you some pictures. I'm not sure what to make of this. I'm going to give my best guesses. Some things that come up to the top of my head. Well, let me show you the sky to tell you why I think that's so. Now, before I show you that, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids. Yay. It's all about what we're going to talk about today. We do have the asteroid Asclepius, the great healer, involved in the sky at this time. We'll be bringing him in, as well as Libitina, an asteroid for funerals. These would be funerals of very famous people, not your individual life at this point with that eclipse. But the other point I'd make out about this is that, one other thing I wanted to share, my 2024 All Signs videos are out. If you want to get that, 2025, they're not out. They're being produced by me. But you pre-sale price now, delivered to your inbox in November 17th, are 2-hour videos each sign, 2-hour videos long, up to 2 hours long, plus the PDF guidebook that I write for each sign myself. It's not some AI bot to go with that. And it's also going to be, you can buy the bundle for even more affordable price. This pre-sale pricing never comes back, and this content never goes on YouTube. So if you want to get that at a really big discount, go check below and grab those products now, and just help me build my channel. It's my yearly fundraiser. So let's go ahead to, buy equipment, hire staff, hire my video editor. You get the drift. So let me show you this first, right? This is a great sky show. I love this particular graphic, and I don't remember where I got it. Maybe skyorg.com, to give them credit. This is the comet moving this way, indicating this is the comet visible in the eastern horizon. When you see the comet aiming this way, it means the comet is visible in the western horizon, if it's visible at all. One thing about comets, it has to do with the burning tail and how much dust is heating up in the sun, and it's called perihelion, when the comet is the closest to the sun. And so they're always guessing how bright the comet will be, but the majority of astronomers I'm reading are significantly suggesting we're going to see the comet between about the 29th to October 2nd or so, early, maybe the 28th of September to October 2nd in the eastern sky. And the second indication is closer to Earth, around the 10th to the 12th, somewhere in here. And there you can see around the 10th to the 12th is Spica, meaning that it's possible that we'll see a visible comet in the western sky near a very powerful and positive sky. The star Spica brings luck and beauty and goodness and things that are the beneficial to humanity. It's the sheaf of wheat in the hand of Virgo, the Virgin. I hear you. Why are we talking about a comet appearing with Mercury in Libra? Because Libra is the tropical symbolic zodiac, but in the real-time sky, the comet in about the 12th of October is traveling through the real sky Virgo, okay? Or it could actually be at that point in the early degrees of Libra, like 1 degree of Libra. So this is the Virgo, that's the Virgin. This is the hand with the sheaf of, well, that's the actual sheaf of wheat, but there's this Spica. Oh, she's got a sheaf of wheat in this hand, she does. The other thing I would note about as this is happening, because one of the websites I talked about, and don't forget, this is a Mercury in Libra video, right? Mercury's attending here, but he's invisible because he's in the heart of the sun in the beginning of his journey through Libra. And I'll talk about that in a bit when we get to the astrology. Right now, we're in the astronomy, and the astrologers and astronomers of the ancient world were one and the same. Now, around the 14th to the 16th, this is the other indication from one of the other astronomy sites that that's more likely a visible placement for this comet, which is now available to be viewed in the western sky when the sun goes down, early after the sun goes down. Well, if this is true, if it becomes more visible here, around the 14th through the 16th, we're going to end up moving ourselves closer to the snake, Serpens caput, the head of the snake, around the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Now, the snake's head is held by Asclepius here and is a part of the constellation of Fucus, which we all think the 13th constellation should be added into the mix. He holds one hand has the head of the snake, and his other hand, he's holding the tail of the snake. And that is to say, we're likely to see the comet visible in our sky when we are seeing the head of the snake being held by the healer, the great healer who could raise the dead, Asclepius. And we're going to add to that, the asteroid Asclepius is actually playing a role in the sky as well. So here's what I'm going to finish up with. Something big is coming. We have the first appearance of a comet moving through our solar system, highlighting the beginning of October, when at the same time there is an eclipse, and at the same time Mercury is in the heart of the sun and deeply, deeply invisible, conjunct the sun. There is something really powerful going on in our sky. And the astronomy suggests that the visibility early on in the eastern horizon is connected to matters to do with this eclipse and Mercury in the heart of the sun. And then if there's an appearance around the 10th and 12th, it brings in the goodness of the protection of Spica. And then if there is an appearance later on around the 16th, 17th, instead of the 12th, we're talking about that snake, a Fucus, the constellation that has to do with the healer Asclepius, and medicine and healing. All right, so where do we go in the astrology? Because that was the astronomy. Well, first of all, one thing I've noticed is that when the star becomes visible, it will be, if it is visible October 1st, it will be visible with fixed star Regulus. Let me show you this picture. Oh, and before I show you the morning sky when October 1st or so, we can see perhaps this new visitor to our solar system. This is what I mean by the constellation that involves the healer Asclepius and connects to, it's called, the serpent, Serpentarius. Babylonian tradition had two snake constellations in the sky. One was the water snake Hydra, and this is the other snake. Okay. And this is the healer. This is Asclepius, and this is what he's holding on one side and the other. And it's up here where the head of that snake is appearing that we may see visible comet appearance in the western horizon around the 16th, 17th of the month. So let's see what actually happens. But the first visible appearance is what really matters, and that's why we're going to focus on the story I'm about to show you. So this is from skyorg.com. You can also go to dateandtime.com for when things are visible in the sky in your area, in your time zone where you live. This is Comet Shushan Atlas. There's a way to say it. It's not pronounced right by me. I did have it written down, but I forgot now. Let's just call it the Atlas Comet to make it simple, shall we? And here we have this comet sky October the 1st. We have the balsamic or waning crescent moon, as the moon will move into the sun on October 2nd and be in the eclipse at 10 degrees of Western tropical Libra. Therefore, this is in a real sky, still the constellation of Virgo the Virgin in terms of the sidereal sky. But we could look up at the sky in the early evening, all right, just in the early evening, in the early morning, just before sunrise. You see all this glow down here? That's the sun coming up above the horizon, getting ready to glow up. And you can see this forming a little crescent of light on the balsamic or waning crescent moon. And a waning crescent moon is when the moon is within 45 degrees of approaching a sun, and this will be the eclipse on October 2nd. Now, on top of that, this comet Atlas is driving through the sky this direction, and we may witness it. And if we can see it, the Babylonian tradition will tell us what color it is. Like green might be the nature of Mercury, and red could be the nature of Mars. And again, Krasi, as a Babylonian astrology, is really wonderful. And I'll put a link to her channel. I don't know if she's covered this yet. I haven't checked, but I do like listening to her, and I keep meaning to have her on my channel. Now, you see at the top of the sky, Regulus, and Regulus is the star of kings. And it is Donald Trump that has Regulus on his 29-degree Leo ascendant at birth. Now, Regulus has moved to the 0 degrees of Virgo. One thing I'd note is a comet can be a mal omen or a good omen. So it's either a good omen or a bad omen for Donald Trump. Virgo, where the actual star now sits, 0 Virgo. Virgo is assigned to do with matters connected to health. And I'm a little bit concerned only because another case of bird flu just popped up in the news a few days before this recording, and it's in Missouri, and they can find no transmission from cattle or poultry. It arrived, this new potentially dangerous bird flu strain, H5N1 or something. It arrived in birds in 2022, poultry, and now it's in cattle and maybe even domestic animals, who knows? And there's a lot of alarm about there's not enough tracking of whether or not there is indeed transmission now moving away from animal to human and between human to human. Okay, just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a mal omen in Regulus now at 0 Virgo. We're talking about situations connected to health matters. Second of all, Asclepius is a healer, and it's connected to the symbol of healing, but also in modern world, we misconstrue the rod of Asclepius, which is a rod with one snake on it. And we often mistake it for the two snakes winding through the rod. And that's not the rod of Asclepius. That's the rod that belongs to Mercury. Mercury is the guy that holds the staff. Oh, wait, did you get that right? No, Mercury holds the staff with one snake going up it. Yeah, and Asclepius has two snakes going up of it. But we have both Asclepius, the asteroid, we'll get to that, and Mercury involved in the sky. So let's go back to Regulus. Regulus is also, kings, right? Kings and leaders. I don't care if it's in Virgo. I don't care if Regulus is in Leo. It's still a star associated with kings. And it's also associated with the archangel Raphael, which is the angel that sits above the lovers in the Adam and Eve figures in the tarot card, the lovers in the major arcana. So some archetypes there to think about for sure. All right, so there you go. Maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. It's easier, more visible, like as you move towards the second and third, if you're near the equator, and it's more likely apparently to be visible if you're in the northern latitudes, closer to, like, say, the 28th, 29th, 30th, if it's visible at all, right? If we see it at all. So let's see what happens here. Possibly the 29th, the 30th, 1st and 2nd of October, we see the comet. And if you're in the equator, it's easier to see towards October 5th. And if you're in the northern hemispheres earlier on, then what I'm talking about, 29th, 30th, don't forget the 29th, 30th, Mercury on the 30th of September into October 1st is conjunct the sun, deeply invisible. And we have the eclipse building and becoming perfected on October 2nd. And we have an asteroid moving through a part of the sky where that eclipse is occurring. So if we don't think something big is coming, portentous or ominous or big changes, comets do this. Neowise move through our sky, and that correlated with the pandemic. So when we saw neowise, new wisdom, we saw pandemic central coming through our sky. So Comet Neowise was discovered by astronomers in January of 2022. And so the discovery heralded or was with an oncoming pandemic, but I think this was an auspicious comet in some ways. The comet ended up being visible in January, February of 2023. And when it came to the pandemic, it was the Omicron variant that began to really pick up a head of steam that really kind of diluted the virility and the danger of the actual pandemic virus. And so we begin to see the truth of that in 2023 as news reports begin to emerge from around the world, including South Africa, that this was actually not that dangerous compared to the other variants. And so we could say that this was a positive comet that shifted the trajectory of the pandemic. Also, though, it did cross over in February, and I believe it was visible, fixed star Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. Now, this is moving through a part of the sky that is tropical Gemini, and Gemini is about the brothers or the neighbors. And we did see that perhaps the crossing of the comet over Aldebaran visibly, Neowise, new wisdom, on a war star, the red star Aldebaran, could literally have been a omen about the October of 2023 onset of a war in the Middle East. So comments are tricky. They're not normally considered to be about our personal lives, but the lives of kingdoms and kings and changes in the big picture story. And that would include wars, loss of leadership, death of kings, illnesses, plagues, etc. Okay, something big is coming. I did have a zombie dream. Two zombie dreams, and zombie dreams for me preceded the first pandemic. So I've been having a couple of those recently, and they're my marker for, I think, zombies, for something that spreads amongst the people that's dangerous, right? Having not lived through a real pandemic, and I don't even know if I include the last one as totally real, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the sky so you can see what I'm talking about. We're doing astrology, but this one needed to be preceded by astronomy. Here we have the sky, and this is September the 30th. You'll notice that there is the movement of, let's fix this a bit, if you don't mind. Back in time to when Mercury first enters into, so he'll be entering into Libra, starting around the 26th through to October the 14th. And as he's moving through Libra, he's entering into the heart of the sun, and therefore we cannot eyeball him. And he'll be in the heart of the sun, time zone dependent, September 30th or October 1st. And then the eclipse comes. And then we're also seeing the south node of loss or difficult situations. In the timing markers of this story, it is around October 1st to the 2nd that we will see the comet tracking over the star Regulus. So because that star is connected to kings, and because that star is on the ascendant of Donald Trump, I don't know what those marks are supposed to be, we're going to note that this is actually going to be maybe connected to events that impact Donald Trump. And it may be an ominous, portentous, negative comment, or it may be something comet or something good. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I will say this. Mars is on Libitina on the dog star of the United States, which dog star of the United States is the sun of the USA and represents leadership in the United States, past, present, and future, kings, or in other words, presidents. Jimmy Carter is not doing well. He's in hospice. He's 100 years old. And all that might mean is this comet is going to herald or portend the passing of a former president. But Donald Trump is also a former world leader, a former US president. And so again, Mars crossing over the sun of the United States of America really, September the 26th through to Mars is there really through to the end of the first week of October, really tracking close with the asteroid for funerals. And so there's definitely my feeling a funeral service, but for an American leader. But one thing I noticed about the Libra story, it often involves Supreme Court justices in the United States. For example, when eclipses move through Libra South Node 67 to 69, the Supreme Court ended a ban on interracial marriage, hallelujah, but Abe Fortas resigned in a scandal. One of the justices was forced to resign or face impeachment from his position on the court. And also I noticed that during the 2004 to 2006 South Node eclipse cycle, Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day retired, the first female justice, and I think it was Rehnquist, but the Supreme Court Chief Justice died. And so a death of a Supreme Court justice wouldn't be outside the bounds of what may be going on in this particular sky. That would make sense to me as well. During the time that Neowise, the Comet Atlas is transiting through Libra, and Mercury is there too. All right. Western tropical Libra. And anything else I'd say about that generally? Once we move past the Regulus part of the sky in the last day of September and the first 3 days of October kind of stuff with the comet itself, and it becomes unvisible, no longer visible to the eye, is suggested by October 5th. We won't see it again. If it shows up at all, we will no longer be able to see it in the sunrise pre-dawn hour, right? Then what'll happen is the comet will be continually moving through this part of our sky. Mercury will be coming out the other side of the sun, which makes him a kind of new rise, right? Like when Mercury's going to come out the other side of the sun from where he's entering into the heart of the sun, he will be known as an evening star, right? We'll see him in the evening, not the morning, when he finally becomes visible a couple of weeks later. So as he tracks this way through the sky, Mercury, and we know the comet is also moving through the sky, it is probably important to look about, October 12th, when it's closest to the Earth, if we can see at all the comet. Because if it does show its visibility in the evening sky with Mercury moving into his evening star, there's a sense of Mercury heralding some positive news or being a herald of a comet's news story. And it is going to be around that time, October 12th, that it is the comet moving through the star Spica or Spica right here at 24 degrees of tropical Libra and maybe 1 degree of sidereal Libra. Okay. And Mercury himself, let's show you that. Let's put Mercury going forward. And I have to get rid of my drawings. Yes, I do, because they're in my way. I can't do anything if I don't get rid of it. Let's move Mercury forward, and I will do your sign. I promise you. I do. We have war in the part of the world called the ME. I'm trying to use codes not to get any more algorithmic timeout corners. So the ME war, the Middle E war, right, is in part of what this is about from the eclipse. And Mercury can negotiate treaties and peace treaties. That's one thing he can do while he's here. I'm excited by that. But as we see Mercury going forward day by day by day, and we finally get him all the way over to Spica, as you will, around 24 degrees, that beautiful star for protection and beneficence and good things and fortunate things happening and protective for humanity. That star is it's a lucky star. It's sitting here and we have Mercury with it. Behind there, we have Juno, which is good for contracts and peace treaties, right? Legal agreements, treaties, and alliances, Libra, and good energy, Mercury heralding some positive news. I don't think he's visible yet. He's still only 7 degrees away from the sun. Keep that in mind. So it may not be that we hear about something good. It might be behind the scenes, but we may show up as he moves forward as some sort of ceasefire agreement or peace treaty arrangements, either with the war with Ukraine or with the war in the ME part of the world. Now, but I'm more thinking the ME because this is the sign that is the ascendant of the nation of I, all right, where the South Node eclipses are happening. I have my eclipse video coming out after this on Sunday. Please stay tuned for that. We'll be doing a lot of deep dives into your sign. It's a long 2-hour video. Now, Mercury moving on a little further, and we see him moving down the line and continuing forward. And then we're going to say, when does he go into Caput, the head of Caput serpens, the head of the snake? When will he meet with the head of the snake? Well, watch this story. All right. He's going to get closer and closer to the head of the snake. Here we go. This is October 16th, 17th, when the indications are that we're perhaps going to see a very visible comet. Well, at that time, Mercury's at 5 degrees of Scorpio, and we can notice that he has connections to the snake constellation. Chu and Uno, can't pronounce it, mean the tail and the head of the snake. So he's moving into contact with that constellation. Mercury is, and that's when Neowise is also moving along in here. And Neowise will be closer to somewhere over here. If the astronomers are saying connected to the snake's head, that's here. So we see that maybe the comet is in the western horizon around the 16th, 17th of October, visible with Mercury present, and Mercury will be, let's see, 6 + 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Mercury might be becoming visible at this point, okay? Certainly within 15 degrees of the sun, he will be visible. I haven't checked for his heliacal rise yet, so I should have done that, but just know there's something going on with this comet, and there's something going on with this eclipse, and there's something going on with Mercury's role in it. Now, ultimately, because Mercury is in the part of the sky where the comet should be visible in the last day of September and the first 3 days of October, we are looking at Mercury in Libra, in Western tropical zodiac, in sidereal, in Virgo, the sign of health problems. And the only thing that worries me about health problems is this is the crow or the raven. This is Algorab. And Mercury died in the heart of the sun, believe it or not, in September of 2023, I believe. And he activated Algorab, this raven, the beak of the raven, the star, the beak of the raven, and it's a negative star. It's a malefic star. And so there is a possibility, and this raven Algorab, although it's in the sign of the scales of justice, it's really back here in the real-time sidereal sky in Virgo, the sign of health. And so therefore, Mercury's death in the heart of the sun, or rising, I can't remember if it was his rising or his death, near Algorab back in 2019 was a bad omen for health challenges. So I'm wondering, with Algorab embedded into the early Libra Western tropical zodiac, knowing that Mercury will be visible, will be in the heart of the sun. Oh, the story, right? I'm worried about that. I am worried about that bird flu, because the cows, it X marks the spot in Texas, one eclipse swath this way and the other one that way. Libra eclipse last fall, the total solar eclipse in April 8th, and they made an X in Texas. And other than assassinations, shouldn't say that word, the A word, where we've seen it happen with JFK, and we may see it again with any of our leaders these days. So it's got an archetype, Texas goes with that big story. But so does cattle and cows. And I had a dream about a cow as well, and some, problems with the world. And a cow, the only thing I can think about cows is I can think of the virus that's harbored in them. So unfortunately, a lot of astrologers thinking about a big calamity around the election. I think it could be an event with the word TERRO. .ist, but it can also be a new wave of anxiety and worry and fear in the world about another pandemic and or epidemic or whichever it's going to be. So those are things that concern me as we build up. And again, if the comet has a good color upon appearances, according to the Babylonian tradition, it may be a positive omen, but nonetheless, in general, comets were considered to be negative portents or potentially challenging omens. Okay, we're doing all signs. That was world astrology. You're going to have something different. This is Libra. You've got one whole sign Libra house. Something big is coming in your whole sign Libra house. Yes, there's an eclipse there. Yes, there's Mercury in the heart of the sun. They're getting divine mission instructions. Yes, there's a comet speeding through your Libra sky. So let's bring it all together and do all signs. Starting with Aries, moving through each sign, probably about 6 minutes each, I'm going to guess. I'm not sure. And I've tried to be fair, make sure everybody gets the same amount of time. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please help me grow. And don't forget to get those 2025 pre-sale orders, because that's how I hire those video editors and get microphones and ring lights and all the stuff I need. A new computer is what I need next. This one's really old, where I'm recording on an old MacBook Air. So just give me a hand, guys. I'd appreciate any support you can. You get something from me, but you help me grow my business because I use that for my equipment. That money from the All Signs 2025 pre-sale. Okay, let's get rolling. Let's talk about Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign, your 7th house of marriage, guys. What the frig, you know? Here comes Mercury, not any old Mercury through Libra. This one's a whole different kettle of fish. Why? Because he's going to be attended by a comet that may become visible in early October, as he's also deeply invisible in the heart of the sun. And he's coming into the sky where the eclipse is going to be happening on October 2nd. So it's got a quality of big, something big, right? And I don't know what the big energy is, but it is important for you to note it. It's in the house of marriage. And so if you're a single Aries, you might want to say, well, maybe I'm going to meet my dream partner. Maybe I'm going to get married. If I'm in a long-term committed love story that hasn't moved that direction, maybe I'm going to get divorced. I don't know. I really can't tell you how big it'll be, but I'll say one thing. Mercury in the heart of the sun around the October 1st timeframe is getting in divine mission instructions for you. And on September 30th as well, because he starts off around September the 26th and he moves into the heart of the sun on the 29th, on the 30th of September into October the 1st. So it's around that time I encourage you to meditate, to go deep, to like tune into this Mercury Cazimi energy and try to divine what's next for you. What does Mercury want for you in the marriage house or the business partner house? Or because it's 10 houses from your 10th house, it represents the output from your career. What are you sending into the world from the career path that you are on? And how do you reach your audience, your clients, and your marketplace with things that come off of the 10th house? Pluto up there. Holy moly, you know, Mercury squares Pluto for the last time in your life in a whole sign square. And also at the end of this transit, closer to, October the 14th, 13th, he's going to square Pluto, who at that point is direct. So there's some real power up in your career if you have an audience marketplace story. Also, there's a real dynamic change regarding career matters and legal contracts of any kind during this transit, a game-changing one at that. Mercury moving here, of course, comes into contact with that south node. That's a little bit of a challenge for Mercury. That is because it is what must be let go of, what must be released, what must be surrendered. And I think I can bring us a little closer to that south node conjunction. Let me give it a try, but I think it's around October the 6th. I may lose the sky, but let's give it a try. I'm on I am on October the, holy man, where did I go? What date does he hit that south node? September 30th. He's a fast moving bugger. South node, yeah, September 29th. So there may be some kind of disappointment, some kind of loss, some kind of letting go in a contract, an agreement, a business alliance, losing a client, maybe dropping clients out of your life. I can relate for one-on-one work. And something going on, this difficult regarding your long-term committed love relationship. South node, release, surrender. Mercury has just been in the heart of the sun. Now we see on the 29th of September, he's asking you for some kind of deep change of heart, change of mind, or your partner's going through that. They're going through some kind of loss in their own life. And it's not even about you, right? So keep that in mind, that south node is around the 29th or so, give or take a day before and after. And of course, then Mercury's moving into the heart of that sun, and that is going to be another deep dive download September 30th into October 1st. You're going to feel it. You're still feeling it on the 30th into October 1st, right? So this is where you get the Cazimi energy. So he's on the other side of the sun, but he's still conjunct the sun. And so, there's an argument that this kind of Cazimi affects the world at large, where the inferior conjunction affects individuals. I'm not sure if that's true, but you might want to check it out as a day of divine downloads. He will bump into the creator god as well around October. This is Maki Maki, and he'll bump into Maki Maki right here. Some kind of new creation must be formed in your seventh house of marriage, legal contracts, vows, and significant business partnerships. And you want to make those brand new creations around October 1st as well. That's a big energy for you on the 30th and the 1st. What is the new creation for you? And I'm not going to really talk too much about Hestia, but there's some kind of devotional flame that wants to be lit, like a sacred fire in the audience marketplace and clients and marriage house. And you're feeling that call around October 1st as well. And then lastly, knowing that Juno is here during the whole thing, Juno is like what you need to commit to. Do you need to sign a contract? Do you need to commit to a business partnership? Do you need to commit to your significant other, or are they to you? It's really going to pinpoint that focus on commitment. And with the comet moving through here too, there's a huge force that's happening that's beyond each one of us. I love that the comet is Atlas, Atlas shrugged, the guy or the Atlas guy who carries this world on his shoulders. How are you possibly going to do the world on your shoulders, when it comes to significant love and marriages? Now, I will be talking a lot in each Monday video as Mercury moves through here, how he does things like comes into a tight square with Mars. And I'll dive much deeper than I can do now. But just to remind you, he will indeed come into a square to Mars. And that is definitely a challenging energy. And when he's in that square to Mars, yes, we see it right here around October the 4th, you need to pay attention. There's something about Mercury's difficult tension angle with Mars that's playing out October 4th and 5th. So squaring Mars October 4th and 5th, for the world, maybe, as I said, a retiring or death of a Supreme Court justice or something. In your life, it's not that, obviously. It's something different. It's like you have some tension with a legal contract regarding home matters. You have some tension with someone in your home and marriage. You have some desire to move or travel or change things to do with your home and significant long-term committed love. So there's a lot going on there. And there's a tension angle between what goes on in the private life and what goes on in your audience client marketplace life. You may cut, end, and sever huge relationships at this point. I'm done with you. I'm done with this. I'm done with this business partner, this client, this audience thing with my partner. X marks the spot from your home base. Okay, that's where the cutting and severing is happening. And anything else to say about it? No, because as Mercury moves along, he does a lot of things during his transit, and he's very busy. So I'm not going to cover every little minutia of what he's up to, like he will oppose Uranus. So that's an important story. And trine Jupiter. We're going to get to those stories of his trine to Jupiter maybe later. That's when he's with Spica, and that's going to be a great weekly forecast. But just know that he will trine Jupiter in Gemini close to about October 7th to the 9th. Okay. And that's a nice little bright spot. So you're not all worried when he is in a trine to Jupiter between about, he's moving so fast, really, the 7th and the 9th of the month into the 10th, 7th, 9th, 7th to the 10th. Then something delightful is happening. Dream trip with a partner, something like that. Dream legal agreements or contracts to do with writing projects. I have an Aries sun and I have an agent. I'm supposed to get that proposal to her. Maybe she says, this is great, stamps it with a yes or something if I can get my act together. October 7th to the 10th. And eventually he comes into an opposition to Uranus. And that opposition is really down the pipeline, guys, quite a ways away, like around October the 26th. And when he's opposite Uranus, that's a bit of shock or surprise. And I'll show you the sky. I won't do this moving the chart forward for everyone. I won't have time. But this is Uranus on Algol. And this is, did I say, oh yeah, I know he's moving into Scorpio. What am I talking about? Yeah. So he gets into that Scorpio sky, and then he's going to click into opposition to Uranus. So we won't count that for the Libra transit. All right. So hopefully that gives you some lay of the land. The trine to Jupiter is positive October 7th to 9th. I outlined how some of that might look for you, but we have to worry about that square to Mars October 4th and 5th. It could be really hard on your long-term committed love stories. Now, I'm just stopping the share. I've been talking for a while. I'm going to get a little bite to eat, and I will be right back. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you don't mind. I'm back. Some of you know I'm on the AIP protocol, autoimmune protocol diet, because I have a couple of autoimmune disorders. Yes, I do. And I'm loving it. If anyone thinks they have inflammation, like arthritic joints, pain in their body, fatigue, or sometimes bloating, try the autoimmune protocol diet. It's super strict, but I learned one thing: I can't eat chicken. So there you go. I'm a B blood type, so chicken and I don't get along. But after being clean on the AIP for 3 weeks, I had chicken one night. Which is okay on AIP, but as a B blood type, I don't do chicken. But anyway, if you try to blend the blood type diet, for your AB diets or whatever, with the AIP protocol, I'm just saying, I'm not giving you medical advice, right? That my channel's for entertainment purposes only. I'm talking about myself, but I'm telling you, I'm having an amazing result already. I have no more arthritis in my knee or my shoulder. They just disappeared. So sharing the good news with you. I'll keep you guys posted. All right, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So keep in mind, you have a Mercury transit through Libra every year, but this is not any old transit. Something big is coming. It's because we have Mercury transiting in concert with a conjunction to the sun, a Cazimi, an eclipse, and an asteroid called blah, blah, asteroid Comet. Comet. I hope I said Comet in the beginning. And the dealio here is that means there's something very powerful trying to occur in your natal sixth house. This is your work house. This is your daily work, your colleagues, coworkers, office space. It can revolve around matters to do with animals and pets and domestic critters in your home. It's a house that has a lot to do with debts. If you may owe money, karmic debts, of course, pay your karmic debt off here, but also real debt. Do you owe a credit card company, or does somebody owe you some money? Indebtedness is here. And it has to do with health, because it's what we do in order not to be sick. And so it is a house that connects to health that way. What I like about this for you guys is that it's definitely going to be a transformative energy, a big energy, in my humble opinion, around your karmic stories. I mean, because the sixth house connects to the karmic eighth house as a place where you service the karmic debt, so to speak, metaphorically, just take it with a grain of salt. There's almost like a crazy intensity of change here. And yes, you've had eclipses here before. Watch my eclipse video coming out on Sunday. And so this is nothing new to you, but this time around, not only do we have an eclipse here, Mercury here in the heart of the sun, basically conjunct the eclipse, we also have that really cool comet moving through our solar system and through this part of your sky. Now, possibly one of the ways this can play out, because there will be the energy of a conjunction to the south node, which will be very active around the 29th of the month of September. Give a day or two on either side. You might have to let go of something in your life that is not good for your health. You may have to release a challenge to your well-being, like something that you know you really shouldn't be doing, something that doesn't contribute at all to better well-being. And I seem to be all the way onto the 11th for some reason, but we'll leave it there because it is around the 12th that the comet may be very visible, or the 16th in the western sky. Please watch the intro, but also visible in the eastern sky at morning before sunrise, October 1st. So watch for things around the 29th where you may be dealing with a need to surrender, release, or let go of some kind of thing that could be a detriment to your better health. And with Venus in Scorpio, in your seventh house, it's possible that some of the things you need to let go of during this Mercury transit will be things to do with your connection to a significant long-term love relationship partner. And it may be, for some of you, almost like the ending of a karmic contract with somebody that you were thinking you would stay together with for a long time. You may also end any kind of indebtedness through legal contracts and agreements, but Venus is in exile, so it's not as good as you want. So You could finalize a legal matter to do with debt and money and courts and judges. And it may finalize in a way that is good but not great because of the South Node. And again, I'm talking around the 29th of the month. And then on the, October 1st timeframe, Mercury in the heart of the sun, September 29th, October 1st, and connecting to asteroid Maki. What is it that you wish to create? Is this a creation god? This is a trans-Neptunian. Is there something that you wish to create anew? It's funny because the Algorab crow is nearby. And in a way, it's also a crow that has to do with sorcery and magic. So use some sorcery, good witchy powers, good warlock powers to create some magical recreation around health, around work, and around pets. Now, the sun is here, of course, in the eclipse and rules your fourth house of home, as well as that might mean a new home coming your way, an eclipsing of the old home. With Mercury in the heart of the sun, the god of contracts, agreements, and news, you may indeed find a new home through rental properties, renting a new home, or as a landlord renting a home out. That's very much embedded in this Mercury transit with the conjunction to the sun during the eclipse. And I think Mercury in minor dignity here has some strength in Libra, could indicate a situation where it works out. You get a really fair deal and you get a better outcome than you imagine for the cost of the place you would like to rent, or a better tenant than you imagined you would get, etc. October the 4th, 5th or so, Mercury will square Mars, and that indicates a profound tension around matters to do with a neighbor, a sibling, a younger sibling, aunts, uncles, cousins, or things in your local environment. Now, there's a lot of things in your local environment, your daily life, the gym you go to on the daily, the stores you go to on the daily, the neighborhood and neighbor stories. I mean, it could be very much just a conflict, literally, with a neighbor. But it would be about maybe sixth house matter, who hoes who what, maybe something like that. Or a pet. You brought a pet into the neighborhood, it's barking all night, and your neighbor's angry at you. And that's maybe a small light conflict. It goes away, but it's there October 4th and the 5th. It's a packing house often. We pack for a trip in the 3rd, away from home, and go gallivanting on journeys close to home. But there's tension in the sky with Mercury. So some news that maybe a planned trip and a short distance trip may be called off because you have some work obligations or some health challenges that don't permit you to travel as you would intend or hope to do. That's one way of seeing that as well. On October the 7th, to the 10th, there's a beautiful flow from Mercury to Jupiter. And yes, something about money and work that's positive. Even with Jupiter in detriment, he's still a money god, Hail Mary pass, saving your finances, keeping you from going broke, keeping you afloat. I know you're generous, you give money away and you spend a lot when Jupiter transit your second house, but he also saves the day. And he's kind of coming into that contact to the Chiron. We'll be doing a whole weekly video on this, but the Chiron, the Chiron, Jupiter, and Mercury narrative. Well, in essence, we have a beautiful wedge. So what is it that you could do here is you could break free of an addiction or self-undoing or pattern of anything you put in your mouth, usually through an educational or teaching direction or a guide mentor helping you. You could also use this time around October 7th to 10th to sign a new lease, legal contract or agreement to do with property, and find it's going to work very well. You are definitely able with this Jupiter, though, when it comes to work and career matters and money you make in your career work story, have a bit of a nice financial glow up. Something good goes well. Again, rentals, properties in general, good glow up financially, things to do with debts and money owed, good sweet spot, the 10th, 7th to the 10th. And really good spot as well for some positive developments in your work connected to your financial matters, especially when we get around, October the 11th, the sun moving into your 10th house of your actual career. Let's move us back a day and let's just see where that moon will be. Everything spins the wheel, eh? Gotta love it. Okay, moving back. Yeah, so by the day after all this glow up, the moon gives you a big light at the top of the sky. The big moon is shining up there. It will be let me just check it out. It will be It will be a quarter moon. It will be a first quarter moon. So there's new things sprouting in your career just shortly after the 10th of October that are very positive for your finances. And sometimes a moon in the 10th house just means the boss says you can work from home. I mean, and that's going to delight you as well. So things like that around the 10th and 11th of the month. And as we move forward, one more thing I want to say, it's a comet, but it's also the comet in relationship to an asteroid for commitment. What is it you have committed to? Almost like a marriage vow, almost like something that you, oh, my annotation's not working. There's Juno, right? The flower goddess. She's going to be connected to the connection to Spica and Mercury all together in the sky around the 12th of October. And it can really be a very pivotal and positive turning point regarding debts owed, debts due. I don't care, banks, mortgages, whatever. Better health, better arrangements and agreements with your work environment and your employer-employee relationships. And it's very sweet, no matter what, even with the comet there, because we've got Spica, Mercury combined with this Juno agreements and contracts and vows of some sort. Could be a new work contract, a debt contract, a refinance of a mortgage, some settlement of a credit card debt. Jupiter's trying to support your finances here, and he looks at the house of banks and mortgages. And so, yeah, looks really good. Let's see what happens for you guys around the 12th of the month, Taurus. I'd love to hear it in the comments. I really do read my comments. I know those astrologers who say, tell me what you know, and tell me what you think in the comments. And they never, ever, ever actually read their comments. I'm like, why are you asking people to tell you what you think if you don't actually ever read and answer to some of them? ay. I mean, I won't tell you to tell me what you think in the comments if I don't actually want to know what you think. It's so funny. It reminds me of I was just watching my last video, I aired on the Venus and Scorpio, and I asked people, well, how would you describe Venus and Scorpio? Give me characters, fiction characters, famous people. And I got some really great ideas from you guys. Thank you. Sultry, somebody said, absolutely. And so I do read my comments. Thank you. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a very nice vibe when Mercury moves into your fifth house every year because he flows to you in a trine relationship from your fifth house. So in essence, it feels good for you and you're pretty copacetic with it every year. However, this is also the year in which eclipses are occurring here, and he bumps right into the eclipse, goes into the heart of the sun the day before, 2 days before. There's an eclipse. It's going to be eclipsed with the sun in the heart on the 2nd of October. And then there's this comet that's following him around. So, oh my God, this comet Atlas. So, oh my gosh, to me, it kind of says, what is it that you're going to have? Something big is coming here when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to grandchildren, because eventually you'll have the moon in the 9th house. Well, this is all happening later on. So when it comes to announcements about grandchildren being born, pregnancy for you or your partner, big, exciting events that are game changing when it comes to art, creativity, performing, writing, painting, acting, whatever your creative skill is, that could really be blowing up in a big way, like a beautiful light of a comet from another solar system shining through, or another place in the world. The other thing I think I'd say is you might find the energy of this to be a very big boon for you if you are looking for a romantic partnership and you don't have one, because I do not necessarily mind Juno in the mix. And that's where Spica, Juno, Spica the star, Juno, Sun, and Mercury will all be hanging out pretty close together in the middle of October. And that could mean the beginning of a very cool new relationship, especially with Venus in the house of dating, which is the 6th house prior to commitment in the 7th. You may meet somebody under this energy mid-October for single Gemini, and it might be quite profound. You could say, we met under the spell of the Comet Atlas, and that's a story you tell your children. Entrepreneurial business matters and projects and schemas. The baby businesses you birth are in your 5th house. And so there's a new beginning. Mercury's in the heart of the sun. He wants new divine mission instructions. There's a good energy for beginning something new. The eclipse portal itself indicates something's changing here, and you may change your direction when it comes to your creative projects. You may begin something new, or if you have an entrepreneurial business, it's time to let go of one aspect of it and birth something new. The creation god Maki is sitting here with Mercury right around October the 1st. October 14th and 15th, there's that square from Mars in the money house and what you put in your mouth house. Well, That's not so easy to deal with, is it? So what do you need to get rid of in your dietary style that's leading you to, in the house of pleasure, some kind of challenge? It might be pleasurable, but maybe it's not good for you. Venus is a ruler of your fifth house where the pleasures lie, and she's in the house of health. So a nice breakaway, October the, you know, fourth, fifth, around food substances or addictive substances that are no longer at all going to work in your life. You decide to get rid of them. Also, Mars is in the house of spending and money, but also he's a self-starter, very entrepreneurial in your second house, although he is in the sign of his fall. You might have a bit of a, it's hard to say. You might have a bit of a challenge in your finances as it pertains to a child, a lover, or a sibling too younger than you, all right, down the line. And there's some kind of money challenge coming through your sky at that point. And there might be some conflict around financial matters with those types of people, especially long-term committed love. Even though it's a romance house, we still have Juno here. Or you may have some money matters that are conflicting with your pleasure matters. You know, you really want to go off to a spa retreat with the girls, but it's not the time to spend that much money. So keep that in mind too. I like it a lot for getting rid of addictions with Uranus Algol in your 12th house, where that conjunction happened with Mars on July 15th. A lot of Geminis can really blast through any addictive substances and self-undoing and sabotaging stories in their lives completely. It's like a karmic blast radius detonation between July 15th of 2024 to add 2 years. All right. And Jupiter gets into the mix later on, and around the 7th to the 10th, there's a beautiful flow to the planet Jupiter from Mercury. And Mercury is sitting over here talking to Jupiter. You're lucky, guys. You are lucky. You're a four-leaf clover right now. And you'll be that lucky, prosperous, plentiful, leaderful energy all the way through until next June. And this lucky you energy is going to flow in the sky around the 7th to the 10th to Jupiter. And Mercury is still not quite visible, I don't believe, but he's going to have to plan for some money luck. This is a house of financial fortune coming from gaming, casinos, like windfalls, pennies from heaven, but coming off of speculation and gaming ways, you know, casinos and lotteries. And you'll notice that Pluto is in the house of chunky money that you could get in like a giant chunk you didn't earn, right? So some of you may look at this time, very blessed energy. Oh my gosh, the 7th to the 10th, where you may win some money. And then, you know, looking at the fact that right after that, around the 10th to the 12th, Mercury gets all bundled up and cozy with Spica. So, I mean, it is right back here. Really, well, I think he's with Spica right on the 7th to the 9th. Let's double check that, okay? Would you mind if I just do that for us so I have exactly the date, clear the drawings, and let's just make sure. Let's move him back a day. I have him on the 12th. The comet's closest to Earth on the 12th. Sorry about that. It's like a hot mess because I'm moving by hours, so I apologize. She's got it. Hey, baby, she's got it. I can do this. Let's move Mercury back a bit. So there he is on Spica right there, you know, right here. So October 9th. So yes, October 9th, October 7th to the 9th. If you're not going to win the lottery, I'll have no idea what it is, okay? You want to tend a sacred flame to your creative projects. You want to be devoted to your children. You want to be devoted to your romantic love partnerships. That's what's another vibe here with the asteroid Hestia involved in all of this glow up. But she's really, I missed it talking about her. She's really, really intense about tending the sacred flame of the love to your children, to your romantic partner, to your creative project. She's really, in your entrepreneurial business, she's really activated by Mercury, closer to about October the, I'm getting it for you, to the eclipse, October 2nd, 3rd. All right. I say a little bit after that. Probably October 2nd, 3rd. Probably, if Lori does her math again. Sorry about that. I should have figured this out beforehand. There she is. There's Mercury. There's Hestia. So yeah, around October 2nd, I was right. He's moving so quickly. So, at the time of the eclipse, Mercury will be conjunct the goddess of the sacred flame. So around the eclipse, you're really diving into some new kind of devotional respect for things to do with your creativity, your children, your romance and sex life. Good energy for sparking a big lighter in your romance life as a result of this eclipse, especially if you're single, but even not, it can work for all of you who are in long-term love stories as well. Moving on to the next sign, which will be Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. So something big is coming. We have an eclipse. We have Mercury in the heart of the sun, Cazimi, and we have the comet Atlas tailing all of this and acting as some kind of beacon of profound change or some kind of energetic shift or a big energy. Now, Mercury comes through here every year, but this year, as I said, it's all bundled up on those three things I mentioned, the eclipse, etc. So one thing I note is that Mercury bumps into around the 29th of September, bumps into the South Node, and you might have a disappointment regarding home, land, property, real estate, or a situation in your domestic life feels like a loss or a disappointment. Keep that in mind. But he also then goes crashing into around October 2nd, Maki, the god of recreating your life. Well, Mercury is also bundled into, so like October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, what do you want to recreate in your life from something that you've just lost? But on top of that, he's also strongly connected to the energies of the vital Vestal flame in the house of the home and hearth. Hestia, Vestal energy, it's Hestia, same idea. It's about your kitchen, it's about your fireplace, it's about what you need to cook up in the home, but it's also what you need to tend and nurture and devote yourself to in the home. Maybe a person needs some devotional energy in your home. Maybe your mother, it's the house of the mother, needs some devotional energy from you. And you might be acutely aware of that as Mercury hooks up with this eclipse by being conjunct Hestia on October 2nd, when there's an eclipse here as well. He's getting divine downloads, right, on September 30th, October 1st, to reset you in a new direction in your fourth house. And with the South Node, it's indicating some of you might need to choose a move, let go of your home, move, release it, surrender it, sell it, rent it out and move somewhere else. There's something wants to change here. And this directional shift in the home story is playing out all the way through until next year, probably till the middle of the summer, because of a Aries eclipse that happens in end of March. The idea of a change of home for you, I think, could look like another, like domestic, not international, not far away. Okay. Now, what else I want to mention is that Mars gets all muddled up in a square on the 4th and 5th. And this is Mars from your first house, in a very challenging relationship that requires decisions and action, square, to Mercury. Now, you are the one making decisions. You are the one taking action. You got a scalpel or a sword or whatever in your hand. You're decisive, deciding, cut in two, decide. You are on it. Mars has got you. You got Mars. Be careful for injuries. I will warn you of that. Mars is to burn your hand under the hot water or the tap, or, it's things to do with water and heat, maybe, or water and injuries. Like, don't slip on a puddle. Don't burn yourself here. Be careful, because this is Mars and he's in the house of you and he's squaring Mercury in the house of the home. And so be careful October 4th to 5th, just to be very diligent around physical injury and accidents. On the other hand, Mercury still is in somewhat of a dignified condition here. He's not too bad. And you might find yourself October 4th and 5th really looking at matters to do with information news to do with your home that you're making decisions on, including to list a property for sale or to make an offer and buy a property. Mercury rules commerce, right? So commercial and interests in real estate and decisions and actions you may take October 4th and 5th. And then he moves into a beautiful flow with Jupiter, which no one can complain about. Please don't. Jupiter, this is wonderful. He's like Santa Claus and fairy godfather flowing to Mercury. This could bring an increase in your finances from far off foreign shores and lands connected to projects of communication, writing, or ideas you're doing from your home. This could bring a nice boost October 7th to the 10th as well, because he's embedded in Spica, a star of great luck, and Juno, with unexpected opportunities regarding contracts and agreements and far off foreign shores and your home. Jupiter can be a teacher, a guide, a guru, and news or information from that teacher, guide, or guru reaching you in and from your home. It brings great luck, blessings, and goodness to your life. Yes, October 7th to the 10th. And ultimately, because Juno's in the mix here, this could be really good for legal contracts, justice contracts, to do with matters to do with your family of origin, your mom and your dad, or something maybe to do with your property matters. And because Juno rules marriage and she is squaring the marriage house with Pluto here, this can also be about division of assets in a marriage breakup. Sorry, that's just what it is. And things are going luckily your way. That's my take on that. And that's about all I have for you. Remember that Venus is the lord of what's going on, and Mercury's trying to please Venus. And Venus is in the house of children. So South Node, Venus in the house of children, some of you may be losing a child because they're moving out of your home and you're making decisions and taking actions, but it all feels very fortunate, especially because of the Spica Mercury-Juno combination. And don't forget, the comet will be most visible in the beginning of the story, right? When the comet is actually coming into the visible sky around October the 1st, right? That's important to remember. And I think for you, with this comet being visible on October the 1st, you might find yourself thinking about matters to do with your third house, right? Where Regulus is sitting. Maybe you'll be thinking a little bit about how you might want to make a change in home because you wish like to move to another neighborhood or something like that. And it's again most visible either on the 12th or the 16th. It's debatable. We'll cover that when we know when the most visible times for this comet are. All right, let's move on and let me get the annotation out of here and we'll clear clear all the drawings. You guys can't see me do that, I don't think. Moving into Leo. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Libra is where Mercury travels. And yeah, he's there, as I said earlier. I hope you watched the intro. I always repeat myself, right? But he is there from the 26th of September to October the 14th. And as he's whisking fastly through Libra, he's also attended by an eclipse, a conjunction with the sun called a Cazimi, and a comet as well that will end up moving through Libra as well. Let's talk about it. The comet, let's talk about the eclipse. And the South Node. First of all, the eclipse is going to occur on October 2nd. And just before the eclipse, on the 29th, Mercury goes into the South Node. You may have a disappointment to do with home, land, property. No, sorry, to do with a younger sibling, one younger than you. You may have a challenging situation with a neighbor or neighborhood matters. You may have a difficult loss around a writing project or communication project, including things you're doing online where something just feels like you have to let it go, or it's just not the thing that you wanted to have. You know, usually the South Node, we resist because it feels like more like a surrender or a disappointment. Or a writing project, you just give it up. Or a travel opportunity and it's not going to happen. But then the eclipse is happening on October 2nd, and Mercury will have been in the heart of the sun October 1st and September 30th. Mercury's in the eclipse as well. There's a big new reset button, a portal for something new, a solar ring of fire in the third house. Some of you may have a change of neighborhood over the course of the next year. You're going to move to a new neighborhood. You may also have changes in big and profound and game-changing changes of relationship to a sibling younger than you by one younger. And also you may make changes in commitments and vows legally and contractually when it connects to matters to do with neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings, travel, and writing projects. Now, the other thing I want to remember, just remind us that when the comet is sort of rising in the sky, or we can sort of half-ass see it, you know, we're going to see it first in Virgo in the Western tropical sky. It is kind of possible that there's some big heralds of new ways of earning money coming for you, especially with a trine to Uranus in the 10th house. So some of you will see maybe massive changes in earnings should the comet indeed be visible around the 1st of October. And that change could go for, I don't know how long. I don't need to know. Mercury rules this Virgo real estate. So it could go for a year because he's mucked up in the eclipse. Within a year, massive changes of earning structures. And He's also during the eclipse with the creation asteroid Maki Maki. How are you going to create something new that hasn't been done before? Are you going to be acting like a god of creation in the third house? And again, recreation, creation. Maybe it's a new home in a new neighborhood. Maybe it's a new relationship to writing projects or travel opportunities, but there's a new start here for sure. And when we see Mercury move into a square to Mars around the 4th and 5th of October, Mars is up here at the time. And of course, Mercury's down here. This is a decision point to do with countries far away, far off shores, and neighbors, neighborhood, travels, and trips. Now, it can be a sudden decision to make a trip to a far off foreign land and shore. It's so simple. Or a need to like figure it out or take action on such opportunities. So it doesn't always, squares aren't always so bad. October 4th to the 5th. You may also find that this energy can open up new avenues, new changes of direction regarding ways you make money online from international revenue and digital outcomes, especially with the third house, because that is a house of social media, Mercury and magazines and newspapers. And Mercury here will be, when he squares Mars, still pretty close to that sun. So keep that in mind. You want to burn and attend a sacred flame of devotion here with the Vestal flame, and Mercury's reminding you, what do you want to devote yourself to? Do you want to light the big lighter for for more travel in your life, for more education? You want to learn a lot. You want to study, take webinars and seminars and skills-based classes. Mercury is always curious. He represents your mind and your ideas, and you may be really propelled to a new course of study as a result of what's going on here, because the eclipse opens a portal to the new over the course of the next 6 months. And certainly with North Node Chiron in the house of higher education, a lot of you will think you might want to go back to school. And this could open up the opportunities for that or the decisions about that. Maybe a school in a foreign country for some of you with that Mars placement, squaring the houses of 9 and 3. And Jupiter brings in nothing but Santa Claus, ho, ho, ho. And he's in a beautiful flow called a trine to Mercury. Well, Mercury is on lucky star Spica or Spica. And there is Juno also sitting with the same story. A very lucky opportunity connected to a sibling, one older or one younger, may connect to travel, may connect to neighbors and neighborhood amongst those two siblings. Also a very lucky opportunity or blessing coming to you from a friend, ally, benefactor, or elder sibling, one older, or a sudden surprise of career gains, a pickup in your money, especially if your career gains are connected to matters to do with the social media world, the online world, writing magazines, websites, etc. And why is there a Juno there? Well, Juno is about what you commit to. You may be making a new commitment, especially to an older sibling, and it can be very financially positive for you, because don't forget the comet first became visible in the house of your finances, while also connecting to Uranus, the god of surprises in career and money matters. So that's all I've got for you. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear back. And if you have time, to write something in the comments about this, I'd love to know how it went for you when this cycle's over. Come on back and let me know. And if you're on my Patreon community, we can chat about it in the chats. For major aspect patterns, I start a chat area and I ask people for feedback and how it's going for them, and I tell them how it's going for me. So if you want that kind of real high touch contact with me, that's my Patreon community. All right, it's a chat box format, okay, like a chat board, like the old days. All right, moving on. I'm never going to get done at this rate, guys. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It helps the channel grow. The channel grows, I grow. I grow, we all grow together. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. You're going to, first of all, I mean, I think I forgot this for the first couple of signs, but the comet is visible in Virgo, right? Maybe October 1st. The hypothesizing it will be near fixed star Regulus in your first house. Certainly, this can only be a major harbinger of major personal change, right? Virgo sun, career change. Virgo moon, home change. Virgo rising, everything about you, right? And also, comets can be negative omens or positive omens, and a lot will depend on color. But it's just an element of some profound, rare change in the Virgoine identity. That's how I'm seeing it. Okay. And then as we move into the Mercury on the 26th of the month, Mercury is moving through Libra, right? He's ahead of the comet. He's heralding the comet. I'm going to call this video Mercury heralds a comet into Libra or something. Let me write that down. Something big is coming is probably my title. Only for Virgos, the detail people, do I write this down? Something big coming. And Mercury heralds the comet. How's that? Something like that. Something like that. Or the comet heralds Mercury. All right. So it's probably the comet heralds Mercury, really. But anyway, let's not go there. The energy of the sky is about your money. It's your earnings, your savings, your possessions, your financial resources. And it's your second house, and it's Libra. Now, this is an energy of change because we have a comet who will come through the tropical Libra sky, especially closer to around, by the way, the 12th of the month. That's when the comet enters tropical Libra. We also have the eclipse, and we have Mercury in the heart of the sun. So let's break it down. 29th or so, 29th or so, Mercury hits the south node, a disappointment financially, a disappointment with or letting go, some really strong ability to let go of some kind of food style or something you shouldn't put in your mouth. That can definitely be that for you. South node lets go in the house of the food. Some disappointment can happen though, or some financial disappointment of some sort in a temporary short matter way, where you're just feeling like, oh, I have to let that go. I guess I can't. Money has to be released, or possession. You might have to let go of a possession. Something needs to be released or surrendered around the 29th. It can be as simple as selling a possession, letting go of a possession. Because when Mercury moves to the second house, he's a selling marketing guy, and he means you might be selling possessions, and its south node is letting go of something. So that's the 29th or so of September. And then around the 30th of September to October 1st, he's in the heart of the sun, conjunct the sun. And that's a reset button. It lasts about 6 weeks. It says you're resetting something to do with your money, your possessions, and your food and dietary style. Anything that goes in your mouth. The sun rules the house of addictions, including addictive substances. There's an eclipse here on October the 2nd. The October 2nd eclipse is also where maybe we're also still seeing the comet in the morning sky rising in your first house, or being visible in the morning sky in your first house. So you may indeed find some major changes emerging from this eclipse about who you are in relationship to your resources, your values, your money, and your dietary style, and your addictive habits. Looking for a wholesale change maybe in any of those areas. Now, one of the things that goes on with the sky when Mercury is moving through this Libra house is your speech is more balanced, right? The way you discuss things with bosses, with your significant other, with your children, you got more of a harmonious, peace-seeking, balanced way of having conversations. And you may as well use that during his journey here, September 26th to October 14th. Is a good time to have reconciliatory conversations with people with whom you need to have those conversations. Mars will square Mercury while he's in Libra, October 4th to the 5th. Let me back it up. You want to have a new creation here, creation God. Create a new way of eating, create a new way of facially appearing, create a new way of making and earning money, create new values from scratch, okay? Keep that in mind. And tend a sacred flame to your dietary style and cook in the kitchen and eat home-cooked meals. Hestia is the hearth goddess and the kitchen goddess in your second house during this whole darn Mercury transit. Now, October the 4th to the 5th, Mars will square Mercury, okay? This is like, well, there's some tension with a friend, maybe, right? A social group, a friend, a sibling, one older than you. And the tension is about money or a difficult conversation from the house of speech that is combative or conflictual or aggressive and emotional, because Mars is the sign of his detriment. He's in his fall. So, and that your friend may be the one that's overly emotional, or your elder sibling, one older than you, or a colleague, coworker is flying off the handle. So watch for that kind of energy playing out for you around October 4th and 5th. Use your skills of balanced, harmonious, nonviolent communication. You know, that friend might want to break an agreement of some sort, a vow that they've made to you because of Juno square that seventh house person, and you're upset just because they said what they do one thing and they didn't. October the 7th to the 10th, Jupiter will trine and flow as Santa Claus goody father, godfather, in the 10th house of career and reputation to Mercury on Spica, the most positive, lucky star of the heavens. And that is a very lucky time for your money as it connects to work. A big new client, a big bonus payment, a performance payment, review payment, an escalation like a promotion or a raise. Good news coming about work and career and money matters coming for all of you Virgos, hopefully all of you Virgos. If you don't have a job, you get the news, you got the job. You want an interview, you get news, you got the interview. That kind of vibe playing out. October, very lucky, October 7th to the 10th. And then October and that's it, October 7th to the 10th. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear. I do read my comments. So when it's going through the story and you have knowledge of remembering this video, please come back and let me know your stories about this Mercury story. All right, Libra, this is important to you. It's something big is coming. You have, a comet that will be traveling through your sky by mid-October. You have an eclipse here. You have a Mercury in the heart of the sun. You have an asteroid for sacred devotion. So let's talk about it. And let's begin with the 29th of September. Well, let's begin with that. Yeah, because Mercury is going to be on that south node. Now, he can do that only twice in every 18 years. So you're going to have a sort of a loss, a surrender, a disappointment that hits you very personally. If it's your son, it's a career loss or surrender, moon, home, and home matters. If it's your son, it's your dad. If it's your moon, it's your mom, or those types of figures. But the letting go, surrendering, and disappointment can be very much, if you're rising in Libra, everything about you. Like suddenly you have to surrender, release, and let go. A part of who you thought you were, a part of the character, identity has to drop away. And surrendering something that we're attached to isn't always easy. It may be a bit of a difficult vibe around the 29th or so, a day or two before and after. But then Mercury on the 29th, on the 30th and October 1st, 30th September and October 1st, moves into the heart of the sun. And then you're going to have a new beginning, a restart from divine mission instructions from the sun to re-begin something in your first house. And that's definitely about a new identity. As well, the comet may be visible early, like October 1st or September 30th, but with rising or being visible in the morning sky before the sunrise is in your 12th house. For you, Libras, this can be heralding something very important to do with the end of a karmic pattern, self-undoing and addictions, bad habits, or the end of situations in relationships of any kind that are based on karmatic storylines. You may also be coming into a time where the endings of the comets portending could have, or the changes could have to do with the way you make money from foreign lands and foreign shores. We don't know what color the comet is yet. Hopefully it's an auspicious color. We'll see. Otherwise, it could herald somebody close to you in a hospital setting over the course of, I don't know, the month that Mercury may be in the sign of Libra. Now, that's a stretch. I'm not sure if a comet can do that in the 12th house, but we'll see. Now, it is going to be like a chance to recreate your life. Maki, the creation god asteroid is embedded into the October 1st and even into the October 2nd time frame. And that's that eclipse with the south node, right? What are you letting go of? What are you releasing? What are you surrendering? All of these all these eclipses in Libra are letting go energies. And, you really want to redefine yourself. You don't want to be stuck with the old way of being, and you want to create a whole new identity, or as Libra, a whole new career, or moon, a whole new home. Mars stirs up trouble October 4th to the 5th in his square from your 10th house to here. So how are you going to make some decisions or take some actions in the work and job space? Now, honestly, Mars up here can either mean you are quitting or someone's getting fired in the work and career space. And he's emotional. He's very emotional because he's squaring Mercury. It's news that's kind of challenging you around October 4th and 5th, and maybe conversations with bosses that are hard or communications that are difficult regarding work and career matters. And you may just be having a very difficult way of thinking about your work or career. Even the mind here, Mercury, it just feels disturbed and emotional about work and career matters, and reputation matters. Your reputation is there. You still have Uranus in your 8th house, where toxic secrets can spill from your family of origin as well. And oh my God, there's something scandalous going on. So a little bit of a disturbance in the ether, but it's about reputation and career matters, and it's coming off the 10th house, October 4th to the 5th. October the 7th to the 10th, though, wait, let's keep it, back it up a bit. You want to devote to yourself to something. The Hestia, the sacred flame, is here. And this is the house of identity. And surely, if it's your sun, you want to be devoted to your career from a sacred duty. And if it's your moon, dedicated to your body and your home life and your where you live. Like get a kitchen, build a fire, like start cooking at home. But if it's really, you're a Libra ascendant and you really want to devote yourself to yourself, it sounds self-centered, but it really means spend time in sacred duty to your very own self. October the 7th to the 10th, well, Mercury is in Spica, the most lucky star of the entire zodiac, that brings blessings and good fortune to all. Well, that star, of course, is in the Libra sky. Anyone born with a Libra sun, moon, and rising, I don't know, around 23 and 24 degrees, because it was at 23 a while ago. It's moved to 24. You guys are born with this lucky star. So on your ascendant, on your moon, or on your sun. But this is a nice waking up of this thing in the Libra sky. So now we've got the comet by this time, around the 12th of the month, or so, 7th to the 10th anyway. We've got, the trine from Jupiter. Let's get to the lucky story. In your 9th house, flowing to lucky Mercury on Spica, around the 7th to the 10th, even to the 11th of the month. And this is also when the comet is very close to Earth and now moving through tropical. I believe the comet will be in tropical Libra, but just entering into tropical Libra. And so what is it that you are doing with this? Because Jupiter says great luck when it comes to book publishing, publications, podcasting, Jupiter in the 9th house, higher education, colleges, campuses, universities, luck coming from far off shores, foreign people in foreign places, luck with court matters and visas. Got it? It's there for you. It's there for you. I mean, October 7th to 10th, or maybe even into the 11th. And so this is a gorgeous combination of a comet and an eclipse and Spica all bundled up together. Maybe it's the goodness that comes from letting go. Now you've got room to let something new in. And a creation god is trying to help you create something new. Finally, travel opportunities to foreign lands, or good things happening connected to pilgrimages, or good things and lucky things happening regarding spiritual teachers, gurus, guides, and mentors. Jupiter's like a preacher or a guru or a swami up there, and you may have some really positive and lucky developments. You wanted to get into the ashram, but they were full, but now you got accepted and you're traveling to India to study with your guru, or something like that. So that could happen as lucky energy, very blessed, October 7th to even the 11th. So keep me posted about how that plays out. Don't forget, Juno, the goddess of marriage, in your 1st house, or with your sun and moon. You're trying to go with your job, should I stay or should I quit, or your career. You're trying to go with your marriage partnership, should I stay or should I go. You're trying to go with your things that you have to agree to and commit to, right? And the Juno can have you really question how much commitment and agreement and diligence and perseverance you want to take in one-on-one relationships, job and career commitments. If it's your sun, you're thinking about job and career matters. Your moon, do you want to keep your rental contract? Do you want to create, or your home? Do you want to change your home if it's a Libra moon? Do you want to commit to that home anymore? Do you want to break the contract with the bank to sell it, or the mortgage holder, or the tenant thing? For a lot of you Libras, if you're not owning a home, this is interesting. Just a sidebar, right? This energy means you could suddenly buy or sell a home, but this part means rent. So you could suddenly buy, sell, or rent property with very lucky outcomes coming through your sky in the month of October. All right, especially for the Libra moon, because the moon connects you to matters of home. I am going so slow today, guys. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story about the sky opening up, the Mercury transit through your 12th house. Keep in mind, you get it every year, but not with a comet trailing in there, not with an eclipse, and not with a Cazimi. So Mercury, will begin around the 29th of the month. He gets there on the 26th and he leaves on the 14th. But on the 29th of the month, Scorpio, Mercury will hit that south node, and then you'll need to let go of something. It looks like an addiction. I'm not kidding you. I mean, I don't care. Call it what you will. 12th house matters. Where do you fall away from yourself? Is it a mental addiction, Haagen-Dazs, a substance abuse? Something has to give. Something needs to be let go of. You can let go of karmic patterns connected to past lives and family of origin storylines. You can let go of a spiritual path, or you could go deeper into one and you could begin to have a spiritual enlightenment vibe. Pay attention to your dreams at night. South Node Mercury dreams about past lives, dreams about your spiritual wisdom and truth around the 29th of the month of September. On the 30th and the 1st of September, 30th, October 1st, Mercury will be conjunct the sun. This is a divine download instructions, mission, divine download instructions window of time, quite enchanting. Mercury resets himself. It's a good time to start a rehab program, reset a commitment to better eating or getting rid of substance abuse, addictions, etc. You also might find it a really good chance for the vibe of the Cazimi, giving you ideas and insights into things you wish to pursue in educational areas of life. And some of you may even think that this could set you off on a new path of study or learning of some kind. On the 30th of the month and October 1st, also, Mercury is with Maki Maki, the creation god, and that's also true on October 2nd, where there is an eclipse. This eclipse is inviting us all to create something new in our lives from the portal of the darkened solar energy, ring of fire. Go through the ring of fire, create something new, something fresh in your life. Well, it's really great for creating anything new connected to karmic things, creative projects you're doing home alone, things, 12th house things to do with foreign lands and foreign shores, and addictions and self-sabotage. Get rid of it, create something new. I do want to mention you have a sacred flame of devotion in the 12th house, and that's to be devoted to your inner life, solitude and solace. And the more time you spend in isolation and alone, the more positive things are emerging for you here. Now, because the sun is being eclipsed in the 12th house, a father figure could end up in a hospital sometime during this Mercury transit. That would be news that this is happening, like a phone call or something. So that's a possibility of that father figure hospital story, more so for Scorpio rising. And that would be true from, September 26th to October 14th. Now, on October 4th, 5th, Mars will square the Mercury in this house, hospitals. This is a house of father figures. So again, could you have a father figure having some time in a hospital setting? Yes, possibly. I always remind you guys, Jupiter in your inheritance house, right? Until next June. So keep that in mind. Mars squaring from the 5th house, delays or difficulties or decisions needed around foreign travel, visas, academic matters, and just some kind of conflict or difficulty emerging. Could be something as simple as there's a glitch in the visa, or the university has to resend you the application or something like that. But there's something going on here. Yeah. October 4th and 5th. Don't forget, Mars is traveling with Libitina, the funeral asteroid. So again, if you have an aging father figure type in your life, could be granddad, great uncle, doesn't have to be your dad. This could look a little gnarly in that regard. October the 7th to the 10th or 11th, Jupiter wants to say something. Jupiter wants to get into the act and flow, chunky money or unearned income coming to you in some way, or being made available to you in some way, or being offered to you. I don't know. And we have Mercury sitting with the light of Spica and the most powerful star in the sky for luck. There'll be delay here. He's not quite visible, but he's giving you the luck around October 7th to the 10th. And at the same time, the asteroid has moved into early Libra. The Comet Atlas has moved into early Libra as well. And so it's going to be very close to Earth in the house of hospitals, in the house of isolation, in the house of karma. Could be a karmic fracture as well going on with some father figure that's finalizing many lifetimes of reincarnation together. That's very subtle, right? Because the 12th house is subtle, dreams at night, meditation, spiritual insight. But it also could indicate with this Jupiter trine, October 7th to 11th, some sort of financial gain. And with Venus in the first house, you can become more personally moneyed, right? Venus is money, or more personally satisfied or happy or delighted. But you got to remember, Venus is in detriment. So it comes at a cost, right? It's not sunny days. It's not like a Mary Tyler Moore show, really. It's more like a, what was that vampire show? You know, the one with the female character, the teen vampires or something. All right. So there you go. All right. I should have said vampires or Venus is Scorpio with my group of people on my chat today for the live premiere of Venus is Scorpio. Yeah, and vampires, female vampire characters, Scorpio, Venus. All right. Let's move on and clear that drawing and move into the next sign. At this rate, we'll be here until it's my sleepy time. We're moving next into, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. That helps the channel grow and it keeps me working for you to create these content. You don't always have to listen to ads. You can join my Patreon community. It's only $5 a month for the cheapest tier. Meet with me once a month in a Zoom call. Get private chats in the chat section with me and the other people talking about these aspects. I teach things in Patreon you never get here. Try me out for $5 minimum tier. You can always quit after a month, or you can upgrade to any other tier at any time. I didn't mean to do an ad. I did not mean to do an ad. All right, let's move on. Oh, guys, I don't know why I did that. Let's go to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a sky that tells me that you have every year a Mercury transit through Libra. This one is back on September 26th to October 14th, but something big is coming because it's going to be accompanied mid-October by a comet in Libra, and it's going to connect to a solar eclipse, and it's going to connect with a south node, and it's connecting to Mercury Cazimi. Got the lay of the land, a whole ton of energies piling into the Libra sky for you. Now, the Libra sky has a lot to do with your career gains. It literally is the money or the earnings or the raises or the promotions here from your 10th house to your second house from the 10th, your 11th. And with the south node, you may have some disappointments on the 29th of the month with your career gains, especially given that the comet is going to be visible on Regulus, around October the 1st, as it's becoming visible in the eastern sky. And so watch the beginning for more on that. So Regulus is where you're a king, a comet, good or bad omen is shining up there. There's kind of like almost something changing, really profound, perhaps, in the career and reputation part of your chart. And then you've got a letting go, surrender, release on the 29th. And Mercury could be some news as well, coming from a colleague or coworker or a sibling, one older than you, if you have one, and something that is going to be coming your way that requires a bit of surrender. Certainly Mercury can be news from a person in your life, right? That friend, ally, benefactor, sibling, one older than you. And it may not be super bad news, but it may involve something surrendered, something difficult. That's the 29th of the month. Then as Mercury moves forward and we get to the 29th and 30th, the 30th of September and the 1st of October, he's in the heart of the sun. He's resetting your career gains, resetting your dreams, goals, and wishes for your life, resetting your relationship to groups of friends. Sometimes, since general friends belong here, and I talked about disappointing energy on the 29th, the whole energy of this eclipse cycle asks you to let go of some friend groups, and some friendships are no longer going to be here. And it also could be letting go of the relationship you have and the commitment you have to a sibling, one older. We are allowed to divorce our family now and then. In this part of the sky, you have this vibe of windfalls, pennies from heaven, karmic and cosmic rewards. South node feels depleting, not engaging, increase there, but the north node is in the house of money, luck, and good fortune. So who knows? There may be a bit of a windfall here of some kind, some financial goodness coming through. I'll get to one I think it's more likely. Just stay tuned here. Mercury will be on asteroid Maki, the recreation god, the create something brand new. How do you want to create something brand new during this transit, especially around that October 2nd eclipse? How do you want to start fresh in the next 6 months? Things to do with that part of your chart that represents your long-term goals and dreams, the gains from your career, your relationship to friendships, and your elder sibling, one above you. And then we see the square coming through from, oh dear, Mars. So what kind of things to do with either secrets, betrayals, and difficult stories, and friends and elder sibling are in your face. What difficulty may you have with chunky money, especially money shared with a resource partner like a business partner or marriage partner? And where is there conflict over those monies? In legal matters, perhaps? Like this can look like getting advice from a lawyer through a friend about how to share spousal resources in a divorce or a business separation. And there's conflictual intensity in the sky under those conversations. That's all. October 4th and the 5th. So Mars is squaring the sun, and there's an eclipse here, and then Mars is in the house of death, and sun is in the house of friends. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but you may get word of the death of a friend during this eclipse, or an elder sibling. All right. I'm not saying you're 15, your sibling's 18. Don't fret. Okay. I'm giving you multiple interpretations. What do you need to do to create a sacred devotional flame to circles of friends and career gains? You need to devote yourself to making money. You need to devote yourself to your circle of friends. That's another thing that's going on during Mercury's transit through Libra. It is a really beautiful thing when Mercury comes into a conjunction with the most lucky star Spica. That'll be happening between the 7th and the 10th of October. And at the same time, the comet is now moving into Libra and is very close to Earth. And at the same time, Jupiter's saying, let me bring you some luck. I will qualify that all luck that comes through a debilitated planet is good, not great, but it is here. What is the lucky break from the house of business and love partnerships, and usually legal contracts, and audience and marketplace and clients? What is the lucky break coming from that segment of your sky to your 11th house? It could be a lucky break regarding career gains because of a particular client. It could be a really sweet spot in the sky where there's a new commitment, Jupiter in the 7th house, to a new relationship partnership. Could be you connected to somebody you met in a friendship circle. Could open up a new relationship for you. It would be a karmically rewarding relationship. If you're already in a love story, Jupiter here can bring new beginnings in love that are very powerful, but blessed endings. And maybe there's some good news about legal matters and blessed endings and resource sharing with a significant other and you parting ways. Those are some ways that may play out. And ultimately, we know Juno here is where you need to make some commitments or legal commitments regarding matters to do with that marriage partner that are harmonious, easy flowing, and equitable and fair, or a long-term committed love partner, whether it's legally marriage or not. And finally, a great new work and professional business alliance, agreement, contract that's good for you, maybe good for your long-range finances, is going to show up perhaps again October the 7th to the 10th or 11th. That's when that trine from Jupiter is active. And we also know that the Comet is visible in Libra as well, in early Libra. And I think that's all I've got to say for now on you guys. I hope that's okay. I'm losing my voice. I think I've been talking for an hour and a half without a break. I know I don't start with Pisces because in a live premiere, people think we're done and they just leave the room and it tanks the algorithm. So if you've ever wondered why we do it this way, you just heard why. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's boost me. I got a sub dump of, maybe 1,000 or more, 2,000 subscribers in the last week. Thank you to the YouTube supposed bot scrub, but people tell me that they're not a bot and they got scrubbed out. So check if you're still subscribed, please, guys. It helps me also keep you in my storyline. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky tells us that you are going through the Mercury transit like you do every year. This is now September 26th to October 14th. It changes every year, but this is now when it's here in the career house. And this is going to activate you to have a lot of change and excitement and news and developments in the career and reputation space. And I know you're retired, right? Or you're a student. Well, your career is to be a student. You're retired. It is like, what do you do in the world? Then people see you do besides play golf, right? Unless you became a golf pro in your retirement. So you got to do something in the world. And there's a lot of action that people see you do. And that's where things are really exciting at this time. Now, there's a lot to say about this because we have a multitude of something big is happening, something big is coming with the Comet and the Eclipse and the Cazimi. One, on the 29th of September, Mercury will join with the South Node. That can be a karmic destined development in your career, or it could be a loss, surrender, or let go, or a disappointment in career and reputation matters. That's all. With an ongoing square to Mars, there could be a fracture in your long-term love relationship during this time, more so for the rising. If it's a Capricorn sun, we're really just focused on career matters, moon, home matters. I told you guys how to parse that in the beginning. Now, what else is going on is that Mercury then slides forward on the 30th into October 1st into the heart of the sun. And a new beginning and a reset button is happening in a kind of a rare way. I'll be doing a whole video on this Cazimi for my Monday week ahead video, because it's not often that you'll have Cazimi video stories or you have conjunctions of Mercury and Libra with the sun. So you're going to do a reset button in your career matters, and it can last for, you'll know what it is over the 6 weeks that follow. You'll have an idea of what's starting fresh and new here. And when he does this Cazimi with the heart of the sun and then the eclipse, he gets embedded in the eclipse of October 2nd, he's conjunct the creation god Maki, which is a trans-Neptunian, and it tells you are going to try to create something new. Like God created the earth in 7 days, etc., the world. You're going to create something new in your career. It's time for something fresh, for something new. You're ready for it. October the 4th and the 5th, Mars will square Mercury. Now, October the 4th, and I'm also reminding myself to remind you, the comet may first become visible October 1st on Regulus in your 9th house, and then go into your 10th and be visible as well. So it could indicate changes in your career connected to foreign lands, visas, passports, foreign places from your natal chart, life, third marriage, environments that can change your career, changes from academic settings, book publishing settings, etc. Keep that in mind. Now, back to the Mars square, October 4th and 5th. There's like a decision you need to make, or some action you need to take, or some energy of friction from a marriage partner, a business partner, a client, audience, marketplace, or just a demanding energy for action and decisions around the 4th and 5th of October with a square to Mercury in this part of your chart. And Mercury is literally like in a good condition in Libra. He's not doing too bad by dignity. So he's pretty strong to have to deal with this conflictual energy coming from the 7th house. Yeah, it's hard to say, but it can be that your significant long-term marriage partner wants to break up with you, and you're just feeling this is going to be a damage to your reputation, and you have to deal with this letting go. Then that can happen. Oh no, this is true for the rising caps. For the sun, it's something to do with career partnership, business partnerships, that kind of thing, and some fracture of agreements to do. You might break a vow to stay in the job. You might quit, or your job might quit you, or it's something about a client is going to be gnarly, or a customer, and they're going to be really clobbering you around the 4th and the 5th. You do have a Vestal flame of devotion. You're trying to find what you're devoted to. This is Hestia, same as the Vestal Virgin. What do you want to light a sacred flame, a devotional flame to in the career space of your chart? What do you want to find an inner reason to do the career, right? Libra is a sign of marriage. And you want to be married in a devotional way to career matters, right? That's basically it. And we see then we move forward, and Jupiter wants to get in on the mix on the luckiest part of the sky. I love this. I love it a lot. So Mercury will be with Spica, and Juno. And this is going to happen the 7th to the 10th or 11th. Well, now the Comet has moved into Libra, into your career house, and it might be visible in the sky in the western horizon. While at the same time, Jupiter wants to make a performance alliance here from the house of work. Positive work, lucky breaks occur for you if you're going to have them October 7th to the 12th. It is a kind of lucky break that's pretty rare. You need Jupiter in your 6th house. You won't have that again, all right, for another 12 years. And so a really positive, lucky break in work and career matters occurs. A new job opportunity, a new interview opportunity, a raise, a promotion, who knows, something good, career, reputation, work, health improvements can occur, and also positive changes to do with work and debt, maybe a raise or a promotion allows you to pay off a credit card, that kind of stuff. It's kind of a funny one, but you might get a pet, and it's going to be a really lucky break just because your reputation, maybe I'm a petless person, and now you're going to have a pet. So lucky breaks regarding the word pet can also show up in the sky as a result of October 7th to 11th. And with Juno there, it's what agreements do you want to make? You know, I told you you're at risk of breaking a contract, an agreement in business or love. But then Jupiter, in the wake of that breakage around the 4th and 5th of October, patches things up with maybe a solid new contract or agreement. So obviously, if it's a work situation, especially for Capricorns, it's like maybe there's just a lot of intensity around action and decisions around a new opportunity emerging in career for you. That's one way of seeing the sky. And just a sidebar, you know, at the same time, Jupiter's glowing and flowing up to this. He does sextile Chiron. I'll be doing this in my weekly Monday video for that week when it occurs. Again, we're talking about October 7th to the 10th, because you might also have a lucky opportunity to heal a wound around where you live, and you might have a new opportunity to move your home, especially if it involves a rental property. Okay. And then with Mars eventually moving to the house of mortgages, move a home and buy a home. And so that story is playing out over the next 2 to 3 months. And then we're moving on to Aquarius. Let me know what you think, guys. When things start to happen, tell me in the comments, because it makes my day. Uh-oh, please don't die my battery on my laptop, because I hate having to splice 2 pieces of a video together in iMovie. It is so slow to upload the iMovie format to YouTube. It took an hour yesterday or more to upload a video, the Eclipse video, through the iMovie format, and I reduced it to medium quality. So, all right, it's on my internet. I have blisteringly fast internet. It's the iMovie format and YouTube's world. I think it is. I don't know. Moving on. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Oh, look. Wait, what did I just do? I saw my hand kind of just, this is a marker that globbed onto my hand, but I'm trying to see what just happened. Oh, I don't know. I thought my hand disappeared for a minute. Oh my, yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go Aquarius. I'm one of you. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. This is our sky. We like it. It flows to us. We like it every year when Mercury comes through the sign of Libra. This is flowing to us in an air trine. This is September 26th to October 14th. Now, this is telling me that something here is big, right? Remember, something big is coming. I think I'm titling the video. Something big is coming, because eclipses, because the Cazimi, because the comet will come through here. Let's start with the beginning story. It is on the 29th of the month that Mercury will come into contact with the South Node, asking you to let go of a 9th house matter. Do you want to let go of higher education, visa, travel, foreign land opportunity, or something? Is it time to surrender and release? Is there some disappointment with publications, book publishing agreements, contracts, podcasting, academic settings, and all of that? Letting go, releasing around September 29th. Then Mercury on the 30th of September and October the 1st will be in the heart of the sun, and simply resetting your button for something brand new and fresh, inspired and divinely downloaded in the house of the academics, book publishing, third marriage environments, etc. Foreign travel visas, passports. I want to get a digital nomad visa, probably in Portugal, and that could be the reset button that gets me to start the damn application process, for example, right? For example. And October the 30, and also anything to do with book publishing and teaching and learning, new beginnings, new resets, new activities here, right? Off that Cazimi. Add 6 weeks to see the lay of the land from the October 1st, September 30th. When Mercury is in the heart of the sun and conjunct the eclipse on October the 2nd, and we also may have a visible comet over here, there's a rise of a comet in the house of chunky money, inheritance money, unearned income, passive income, inheritance money. That's possibly a celestial light that says something rare is happening in this 8th house for you. And it can come through inheritances that are surprising and unexpected, with Uranus in the 4th house. But in this shorter term story, what I want to note is that on the day of the eclipse, October the 2nd, Mercury in the heart of the sun and in the eclipse sun, and the sun is South Node eclipsing. Can't see it. It's a ring of fire. Jump through the hoop to make something new, because the ring of fire is a portal to creation. Maki, the creation god, is here. What ideas do you have? What deep knowing, understanding, gnosis, the 9th house, do you have? What wisdom to apply in a creative new way to the following themes: publications, books, podcasting, higher academic settings, legal and court matters, third marriages, and just luck and prosperity, Lakshmi. Okay. Now, when we move into the idea of Mars squaring from the sixth house, there can be some difficult tension. It may require you to have a kind of critical turning point decision-making time or action-taking time regarding rental properties, foreign shores, and work and career-related matters. The square is to Mercury in your ninth house, but it is the runway for the 10th. So something about plans for career matters and decisions and actions that are critical around October 4th and 5th. You may have some news about the health of a father figure coming through your sky with Pluto in the house of hospitals, again, and the comet first visible in the house of death. Some of you may experience father figures passing. It doesn't mean it's your dad. It can be the guy at work who's way older that's like a dad to you. It could be like a great uncle. It could be, your spouse who's like 80 years older than you. You know what I mean? It's a father figure, not necessarily a real father. Just keep in mind that. Again, that intensity is around October 4th and 5th. And I'm only covering the more deathy stuff as well, because Libitina, the funeral asteroid, is on Mars. So a funeral for a father figure, perhaps, or notice that they're in the hospital, or there may be a pending health crisis with those types of people, October 4th and 5th. It's also Mars in the house of karmic relationships and also in the house of pets. And the ninth house is the house of heaven. So a pet may go to heaven as a result of October 4th and 5th, suddenly with no warning. How does that sound? Best I can do, guys. The moon is in the house of hospitals and rules the house of pets. So pet emergency may emerge October 4th and the 5th. But there's good news ahead. It's not all negative. I don't have an actual pet right now, but I have a dog that's really old. His name is Benji, that I co-raised with my ex-husband, and my children were part of that dog. And I think Benji's 18. So for me as an Aquarius, I just think it's going to be announcements that Benji's passed or Benji's in the hospital and vet needs to put him down or something like that. So this is real life. This is real. I do real life astrology. I don't do ascension and ascension waves and we're all ascending to the fifth portal of the eighth dimension of light. Everybody listen to Magenta Pixie. You wonder where she comes up with this stuff. Google Magenta Pixie. No, I am talking about real life. And so I anticipate as Aquarius rising, I will get back to you. I think Benji's going to pass. He's like 18 going on 100. He's a very old dog. Can't see, can't hear. So we're talking about, assisted dying, right, for the dog, maybe coming through the sky. Yeah, for me, October 4th to the 5th. Now, October the 7th to the 10th, 11th, we have beautiful luck. We have Mercury on Spica, call it what you will, the most lucky star in the zodiac. We have that happening with Juno there for agreements and contracts in your ninth house, flowing to Jupiter in the fifth house of creative projects, entrepreneurship, children, romantic love. So I'll give me as an example. I'm trying to get a book proposal together for my would-be agent, but I can't. I'm so busy, but maybe I'll pull it off. And under the light of the sky, Lori will get that darn thing first drafted. For example, October 7th, the 11th, that's the beautiful light of that energy of Jupiter flowing to the ninth house. Or I finally get it to her and now there's some good news. She likes it, or we're going to work with it, or she's going to ship it out to a publisher. That's an astrology book. Now, which is why I'm not doing readings, guys. I need to get my creative projects off the ground. I'm going to get back to writing. With Jupiter in the fifth house, this is fertility. If you are a man or a woman, I don't care if you're the egg bearer or the sperm bearer, you can get your partner or yourself pregnant under this energy. Just be aware of that. And so this can be something to do with information or news being spouted out to, the high noon of the sky, close to high noon, the ninth house, we're pregnant. But because also the ninth house is grandchildren, you may find out you are going to become a grandparent. News delivered by Mercury that feels auspicious and lucky through fertility, Jupiter in the house of your children. It's good for money, luck, if it goes to lotteries, not casinos, because the ninth house is a house of government-run lotteries. Or if you guys are in a place in the world where there's hospital lotteries with Pluto here, how those hospitals in Canada have lotteries. So a hospital lottery or a government lottery win win may occur. It could occur because anytime Jupiter's here and you get him here in the house of good fortune and money luck through gaming, winning money, you have him here till next June. You could win money. And of course, Mercury with Spica, you win money. Juno means to partner with another. So again, contracts, agreements, legal contracts, and partnerships in third marriages are auspicious. Things to do with winning money is auspicious. Things to do with legal contracts regarding court cases working out and lucky outcomes for you, especially financially, are all good. And lastly, the ninth house is just literally book publishing. So if anyone's in that industry or wants to be, this is a good energy for you around October 7th through the 10th. And at the same time, the comet will have moved into early Libra and be quite close to Earth, or on the 10th to the 12th, the closest to Earth it will be, and it may be visible. So keep your eye on the western horizon and see what the omen is, the color of the comet, even if it's visible in the western horizon in the early part of Libra in your whole sign ninth house. Oh my God. Am I still talking? Am I really still talking? Let's keep moving. Holy man. I had no plans to make this long. Watch my video 2 hours long on the deep dive into the eclipse for the eclipse of October 2nd. That video is coming out on Sunday, the 29th. All right, guys, this is a sky for every year. You get Mercury traveling through your eighth house of chunky money. This is September 26th to October 14th. There's a lot going on. Something big is trying to happen because of a comet, because of an eclipse, and because of a Cazimi. First of all, what happens early in the story? You'll notice that Mercury will bump into the south node, leading to a financial disappointment with money you share with a spouse, money connected to financing regarding mortgages and banks and credit cards. Some kind of loss may occur here, some kind of disappointment around October the 29th. Yet then, moving into the future, we see around the 30th of September and the 1st of October, Mercury is in the heart of the sun and doing a massive reset button for that kind of money. Again, tax payouts, 401k, investments in the stock market, money shared with your spouse. And the comet's rising into visible sky apparently around October 1st. That's what the astronomers think. We'll see if it happens on Regulus in the house of your significant other. And therefore, your significant other relationship is changing regarding how you and your significant other share money and financial resources. The asteroid Maki for the creation god on the eclipse of October 2nd with Mercury there is indicating a new beginning. And you're going to create new things in the way you handle that kind of resources. I'm sure some of you might study occult mysteries, magic, tarot, astrology. That's another meaning of the eighth house, right? And your new beginnings start there, and you're going to sign up for courses like Sky Reader and do that kind of thing. Sure. But also it is a chunky money house. So we have to see that those changes, including an inheritance house, are happening here, and spousal resources and divorce, etc. So there's a new beginning here. And you have a vestal flame of devotion that Mercury is sitting on October 2nd and 3rd, Hestia. How are you going to be more tending the fire, the sacred flame of long-term financial matters, including retirement monies? And, paychecks, like not a paycheck, like government monies, like your social security check and stuff, that kind of money. How are you going to tend the flame of that? October 4th and 5th is difficult because Mars will square this Mercury story. Eek. So that Mars is in your fifth house of romantic love and children and entrepreneurial and creative projects. And the square from Mars could indicate a conflict or crisis area of your sky around the 4th or the 5th. Typically, Mars just wants to incite decisions and change, right? Actions, decisions, and change. And how you approach these matters to do with, say, romantic and sexual love. In a square to Mercury, you might have a deep insight about something that's got in the way of your romantic life, right? You might be clearing the air for a sweet romance if you don't have a partner, because when Jupiter moves into your fifth house next year, June of next year, add 12 months, you might meet the love of a life, and you're trying to clear out like old garbage that gets in the way, that may be even karmatic in some way, to do with lost love, unrequited love, failed love. I'm just coming up with ideas here, And You could also have a fight with a child over money, or disagreements or difficulties with a child over financial matters, October the 4th to the 5th. And money over inheritances and struggles with a child as well, or a romantic partner. Or you're going to lawsuit legal battles because Mars will move into Leo, and some people go to lawsuit land then. He'll be there November, December, but it would be over shared resources with a child or a marriage partner. And you might be going into, there's a battle in Hawaii. I'm going to look at lawsuits because when Mars moves in November, December into your sixth house, he squares the house of courts with a exiled Venus. I don't think it's a good time to launch a suit under this energy. I would stay away from it. I don't think you'll win. And then we go to, I'm not your financial advisor, medical advisor, or money advisor, or legal advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. October 7th to the 11th, you're going to find that the trine to Jupiter is likely feeling like a beautiful glow up because Mercury will be with Spica, and Juno. He'll be on the luckiest star of the zodiac. He does it every year. That's not a big deal, but it's going to be the once every 12-year possibility of a trine to Jupiter. I'll be covering that in more depth in my Monday video that week that this occurs. So look for October 7th to the 11th. And that's also when the comet is going to be in Libra now. It's tropical Libra and close, very close to Earth, and maybe visible in the western sky. So you got an eerie glow of a comet in the western sky of your 8th house of chunky money. And Jupiter is in a house of money from mom and dad and the family of origin and legacy wealth. Anybody from your childhood they don't have to be dead. They may just be giving you money. For example, you've got Pluto in the house of a sibling, one older than you, and that can indicate wealth or riches from a sibling, one older than you. So when we look at the idea of Jupiter in the 4th, it's just money coming from people that you grew up with, your parents, people who lived in their family home with you. So there's a potential legacy wealth coming to you, right? This is different than when your spouse's family gives inheritances. Should be your own family coming up with money for you. Keep that in mind. And Jupiter trining the Spica, lucky star, good star, protective, benefic star, can be very much about some kind of, I'd say, I'm really struggling with this one. Give me a minute. Venus is a ruler, what's happening in the 8th house, and she's in the house of legal matters, courts, and bureaucracy, and red tape, and paperwork. And so you might have some kind of yay me moment where something comes through that works out for you, that impacts your bottom line financially, that impacts how you enjoy living in your home, etc. And finally, lucky opportunities to sell a home, buy a home, and refinance a home or a mortgage popping through the sky. Buy, sell, refinance, mortgages, and property and land and real estate. Super lucky energy. Again, October the 7th through to the 11th or 12th. And that's all I got for you. Hopefully that is helpful. I am toast. I am done. I'm finishing up only an hour and 50 minutes before I have to do a little mini class called the Mercury free webinar. And I already want my glass of wine. I'll see you guys in the next video. Help me get out of the timeout corner. I might be sucked in by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video, and making comments, because I think I got an algorithmic hand slap from the Libra ingress video in which I talked geopolitical, controversial hot topics without using code words. I'll never do that again. Live and learn. Bye, everybody.